Hi guys, welcome to the Darkness channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. The Portal. At first, I thought it was a dream. Was I dreaming? Was it a horror film on the television? In the mix of commotion, I heard children crying and familiar voice yelling. I opened my eyes. Shit. I wasn't having a bad dream. This crap was real. Following the sound, I rushed into the dining room. All that ruckus was coming from the third bedroom. Only that bedroom was affected by paranormal activity. Everywhere else in this house was still calm. Well, except for the sobs and whimpering of my cousins, who I felt sorry for to witness this unspeakable evil. This emotion led to anger towards the idiots who did it. Anger to the thing that made them cry in fear. What the fuck's going on? I yelled above all the noise. Spooky. He did a seance. If you think this would be the end, think again. No matter where we move to, no matter how old we get, this was just the beginning for our family. Based on true events and accounts from a typical American family in Hilo, Hawaii. These stories are recollections, collaborations from family members who witnessed and lived till this very day. The drive-by. Leilani's point of view. I found myself sitting in my fogged up car. Wipers swishing back and forth as the raindrops fell onto the glass windshield. The radio softly played a local island hit song. The vacant lot I was staring at was now empty, covered by overgrown grass and weeds. The only thing that left standing was the tall mango tree that my siblings and I would entertain ourselves on. 10 of us, in fact. 5 boys and 6 girls. Although one girl had passed when my mother was in a fatal car crash. Among the surviving children, the first 5 was a year apart and the next set of 5 was spaced out. 2 years in the age gap. I was the youngest of them all. There were times we'd swing from branch to branch like monkeys, if we weren't enjoying the taste of the juicy fruit. Sometimes picking the rotten mangoes to throw at each other like grenades. Splat, without warning, without reason. Just stupid actions we did to amuse ourselves, I guess. That tree was also a reprieve from getting away from our punishment, thinking we could outsmart our parents, or so we thought. The saying, what goes up must come down, is true. Eventually, we had to come down and face the wrath of our father. He was a fright itself, strict in every way possible. Boy, did we get a whooping we deserved, when we deserved it. Our mother, she was the tiniest poor Hawaiian woman. But, believe me, she could pack a punch of discipline and put you in your place, if we needed it. The thought got me laughing at myself. This house was the first out of several I had grew up in. It was the first encounter to the spirit world that would haunt us forever. I closed my eyes and pictured the white 5-bedroom, 2-story house that once stood there. The layout of the house was magnificent. A stud-wall stairway led to the porch that made way into the main living quarters of the house. The first thing you'd notice was a built-in glass hatch, because it aligned with the front door to the parlor. It didn't completely reach the ceiling, and you could see the dining room and the doorway that led into the kitchen through the open gap from it. What was the purpose of that? It looked out of place, like a small useless addition to separate the spaces from one another. There were 4 bedrooms that had adjoining doors between them. I didn't quite understand the theory of that, but it did remind me of the hotel rooms my parents would rent when we traveled. It was a great way to stay connected to each other. We'd leave those open to walk through to the next adequately. The only bedroom downstairs was always claimed by my second eldest sister, Yaya. Downstairs, besides Yaya's bedroom, were 4 separate garages that adjoined a huge space together, all used for different purposes. One garage was set up as a game room, pool table, dartboard, and scattered toys. A small section was used as a practice area for my 5 brothers. Guitar, keyboard, and drums neatly surround microphone stands and amplifier systems. Another section was considered as the fitness area was off to the back of it, which led to the private area for Yaya. The last was a 6-car garage. But instead of cars, it normally housed our fiberglass and koa canoes that sat on its respective trailers, kept safe from the harsh elements of the sun and rain. This description is still imprinted in my memory. My childhood home. It used to be a beautiful one, filled with uncountable people, family, friends, and nameless guests. My parents were island socialists, the best host on the island. Entertainment, check. All the food you can eat, check. All the booze you can drink, check. They worked hard for everything they did, for us, for them. We had so many adventures growing up there. Owning an outrigger canoe club, several commercial fishing boats, and all the sports activities you could think of. We would be active participants in loving it. Man, they created so many good and happy memories for us. It was in that house that we informally adopted more brothers. But Dad being, well, Dad, his heart cared for those boys who were less fortunate. The ones who wanted to experience all the love and happiness their parents should have given them. Don't get me wrong, not every moment were all unicorns and rainbows. There were kings here and there. What family didn't? The kings started the day when a certain Hanai brother by the nickname of Spooky, who decided to mess with the spirit world and perform the seance. The seance lasted 3 days, and the seance was this window of opportunity for lost and wandering Apollo ghosts had allowed the blackest of souls through the portal. It started smack dab in the middle of the parlor of our perfectly happy and loving home. What he had started would be just the beginning of the paranormal events that we witnessed from 1975 till today. It didn't matter where we came from, what we looked like, where we were. They were always there, waiting, lurking in the shadows, just waiting for the opportunity to present themselves. The whole moral of this is if you play with things of the unknown, you'd best believe that they're more willing to play along to your games, especially if you give them an invitation to the world you live in, the right to dwell among you. It doesn't matter to them. The only thing that matters is if you are strong enough to survive it. Fanny's flashback. I was 13 the day it happened. My parents took my brothers to perform at an event. Back then, they were called the Brothers Five, a popular band on the islands. We had the freedom to relax in the moment. House was clean, dinner made. Perfect. I joined my sister, Mommy, who was watching an episode of Gilligan's Island in the living room. We were both focused on the show. That was until Spooky and Stacy came in the house. Spooky and Stacy were what you'd consider our Hanai brothers, who came up with a brilliant plan. No, scratch that, a stupidly brilliant plan. My sister, Mommy, and I had no idea what a seance was. Never heard that word before in my life, till that day. Hey, I was 13 and Mommy, she was 11 at the time. What did we know? Sit in a circle, he instructed, pointing to the middle of the living room. We did. Hold hands, he added with a nod to each of us. We did. He lit a white candle and placed it in the center of us, and began to chant words. I wasn't really paying attention. Something about calling a spirit to come forth and show itself. When he finished, we all waited in alert, waiting for something to happen. It didn't. Wait, don't break the bond, he said, and we listened, never letting the other's hand go. He repeated the chant once more, this time with more force, more gusto. Again, we waited to see what would happen. Nothing did. It didn't work. Spacey began, frustrated that nothing happened. Letting go of his hold of mine and my sister's hand, we had broken some kind of bond. We performed some kind of invitation that created a portal to the paranormal world. A gust of wind swept in front of the side window. The force was like a tornado that tousled our hair as it passed us. It turned left, flying through the opening of the hatch and turned right into the third bedroom, slamming the door behind it. No fucking way. Out of all the places in the house, it had to end up in mine and my baby sister's room. This was the most freaky ass shit I had experienced. We all had experienced. Something you'd only see in one of Hollywood's horror movies. Oilani's flashback. I had fallen asleep as soon as I reached home from school. I wasn't sure how long I got to nap, sensing the presence of someone near me. I awoke, startled. My head turned to follow the sound of echoing footsteps drifting farther away from my room. I smiled to see 4 familiar figures silently standing in the doorway. My cousins Tonto, Norma, Chunky, and Ardis was here to visit, looking at me intentionally. I jumped out of the bed and made my way to them. I stepped out of the room, and that's when it began. The bedroom door slammed shut on its own behind me. It kept opening and closing with unspeakable force. The window inside raised up and smashed down repeatedly. The small portable radio in the room went in an ongoing loud, then soft repetition. The hairs on the back of my neck rose. 5 of us children stood in the dining room watching in shock, in surprise, in fear. I still get goosebumps today just thinking about it. Ardis, my youngest cousin, cried while her brothers held her protectively. We had never seen anything like it before. It was new to us. We were scared shitless. What would you accept at 5 years old? My second oldest sister, Yaya, came barging in. She was asleep in another room upstairs. She was pissed. You could see it on her face. Yaya's flashback. At first, I thought it was a dream. Was I dreaming? Was it a horror film on the television? In the mix of commotion, I heard children crying in familiar voice yelling. I opened my eyes. Shit. I wasn't having a bad dream. This crap was real. Following the sound, I rushed into the dining room. All that ruckus was coming from the 3rd bedroom. Only that bedroom was affected by paranormal activity. Everyone else in the house was still calm. Well, except for the sobs and whimpering of my cousins, who I felt sorry for to witness this unspeakable evil. This emotion led to anger towards the idiots who did it. Anger to the thing that made them cry in fear. What the fuck's going on? I yelled above all the noise. Spooky. He did a seance. Fanny blurted, appearing next to her, her fingers nervously twining together. Her always neat bun was in a frenzied disarray. Bruh, what the fuck you did? I said, looking at Spooky and Stacy. They were the oldest males in the house at the time. They should have known better than to start some shit like this. Their faces were pale. Spooky couldn't explain it. He didn't know what he'd just done. The look on his dumb face said it all. he was an idiot who didn't understand the consequences of what was happening. My mind began racing, thinking about how we'd word of Kapolo or Kiapolo, synonym used for ghost. It is what the old Hawaiian dialect would call it. A word that is scared to use in the old days of Hawaii. I don't know why you guys fuck with shit you don't know about. I yelled directly at the spooky. With a nickname like that. That is what he just created, something spooky. Spooky, Stacy, go and get the Hawaiian salt and pour it in every doorway and window, quickly. I had to think fast and all the confusion was distracting to my thinking process, while I utilized the two young men. The next step was to prove my strength. Show no fear. I stood stoic outside the doorway of the third room. I had to be the brave bitch that everyone knew I was. People always told me I was evil. This thing that was going on was some evil shit. What better way to deal with it? Stand your ground and fight back, I repeated to myself. At first, I felt like something was preventing me from speaking. I control my thoughts. No one will control my mind, body, and soul. Thanks for staying till the end. Please subscribe to more stories.